So have you heard the concept, and I know you have, keystone species? So in an ecosystem, you're going to have a cornerstone species that upon which, if you get rid of that one, everything else changes. So you have keystone. And
Right.
so another way to think about habits, about changing them is, what is the cornerstone? What is the key to that? For example, smoking. Do you only smoke when you go to bars? Do you
Right.
only
Right.
smoke when you're around this particular person?
It's like
So another,
what triggers it.
that's it.
So I tell people to do this. Okay, like I say, this is an interesting function, which is we're talking about smoking. Okay, so I say what we're going to do is say, so you're going to have an urge to smoke. So what we're going to do is we're going to study the urge to smoke, and we're now going to make it a prey animal. And so
Mm.
we're going to study it, and we're going to make notes on it. And so, like what you do, then you're going to be a smoker, and you're going to have an urge to smoke, and you're going to go. You're going to look at your clock, and you're going to go. I will burn one in 4 minutes, and then you just watch the urge to smoke, and see if it can last 4 minutes without the cigarette.
I
You know
love
what I
that.
mean? And if you still want to smoke,
Yes.
you smoke. The other way to do it is to stop smoking as soon as that urge is satisfied. And I was talking to a lady, and the husband was doing this. The lady was in the room, and the husband was doing this because he was quitting smoking early, and she's
Right.
like, he's smoking like 4 packs a day or something like that,
Wow.
right? Because he was
Right.
burning only some of it, not the whole thing. Right? He's just burning a tiny
Because he could
burns,
just go.
and it's like, dude, you're counting it all wrong. And it's just so it's like this. So the idea being that once you observe the urge to smoke, for instance, which is the habit, right, that you're satisfying with the behavior, that you now are gaining a handle on it because now you're watching it and then you're observing it and making it. It will change and go away.
So on that exact point, so you're getting into mindfulness and being consciously mindful. So people do that when they are eating. So for example, people that overeat or eat really, really quickly, one of the things that folks will recommend for them is to really enjoy the meal. So we sit down, we have a nice plate. You notice how hot or cold, you notice all the sensuality of the food, and you're chewing it slowly, and have found that that kind of mindfulness, like what you're talking about with cigarettes, is very effective with not only just enjoyment, but with satiation, getting to that point faster and getting control of themselves.
Right. And that's like presentation is interesting with food because it is like a ritualistic behavior if you do it right. Right.
Yeah. I mean, I have found, for example, I mean, how many people out there, I know your audience is full of them. I view a serving size as a package. So if that is a little small snack size, well, that's a serving size. Or the ginormous family pack, that's clearly a serving size because it's
Okay.
one package presentation. But certainly mindfulness is effective in that regard. So,
Right.
okay, so you've talked about smoking, we've talked about observing it. How does that you outlined us starting out with formation, disruption, and improvement on habits.
I
How
thought,
does a habit form?
oh, I think it's like, I think people do, it's interesting because it's like, I think it was Jonathan Haidt talked about the elephant and the rider. And it's an emotional satisfaction. So you're like throwing the elephant a peanut, and the elephant likes the peanut to get the elephant to do something, and it's like, okay, so it gets used to it, and it wants its peanut, right? And it's like that's the habitual function, which is it's like we're creatures of habit, we're creatures of comfort, and so it's like we want to be comfortable, and so we comfort ourselves by doing the thing.
So even if that's such a good point, let's just stay there for a second. So even if the thing I could pick up in itself and I could say, boy, that's destructive, or that's not helpful to me, or whatever. That thing is still doing something for me, which is why I developed the habit. Like it tastes good, or it's taking place of something, or it's doing something
It might
that I
be
don't want to get rid of. It's a
it's
peanut.
providing some value to you that you are not acknowledging, perhaps. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's like it's distracting you, maybe, or it's like this one was a good one. So I was talking to a guy, and he's like, his blood pressure was real high, and he's like, I think it's probably, I was doing research on the internet, and it's probably because I drink a lot. And I read that drinking makes your blood pressure go up, and I'm like, well, that's very interesting. I said, now we don't. It's interesting that we blame the alcohol, but what about the possibility that it's your asshole boss that causes you to drink like crazy, and it allows you to go back to work again tomorrow, that's driving your blood pressure up? You know what I mean? I don't know if they've qualified that. I don't know. And I'm like just thinking about it as a possibility, because there's a reason you're drinking. I'm pretty
How did that
sure
hit him? That's an interesting
he
observation.
thought it was funny, which is like, of course it's funny. That's the way I operate.
That's the way that's why I said it. Hello.
It's like, so because it's like, well, let's just think about it, because it's like, well, I mean, it's like, so Dr. Ring would talk about it like this. He would say something like, blaming the skid marks for the auto wrecks, because there's always skid marks.
That's
And
right.
it's like, that is not the right way to think about this problem. Okay. And it's like, maybe there's something else afoot here that we need to pay attention to, that is on the outside, that's not being included in the shorthand version of the discourse. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Best Medicine Podcast with Bradley H. Werrell, DO. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe below, either over there or over there. Also, if you're interested in a medical consultation with myself, there's also information below.